Let's talk about the difference between a breast reduction and a breast lift. They are actually very similar surgeries, quite nearly the same, depending on how much tissue you take off during the lift. So imagine a circle, if you will, and you take a wedge out of the circle and you bring the two sides together, right? You've now turned a flat circle into a cone. This is basically what we're doing with a breast lift. You take that triangle wedge of tissue out of the breast below the nipple, and when you bring the sides up, you've removed the heavy tissue that's below the crease and you've pushed the nipple up. Now that often involves taking some skin off around the nipple too, just to center things and make them in the right place, but you're taking some tissue off. That's a lift. A lift with auto augmentation, basically instead of taking that tissue off, you take the skin off it, you free it up from the surrounding tissue and you slide it up under the nipple. So you're using your own tissue to augment the upper pole. That's why it's called an auto augmentation. So that's one end of the spectrum where you're not taking any tissue off. On the breast reduction side, that wedge is wider, and then you take tissue off under the nipple. Imagine, if you will, lifting the entire breast up like this and taking tissue off the deep side between the breast and the pectoralis muscle. That's basically a breast reduction. Sometimes if the breasts are very long and low, then you leave the nipple onto this long tongue of tissue called a pedicle, free up that entirely, and then kind of rotate it up into the position. But the basic surgery is still taking out that triangular wedge of tissue and lifting up the whole circle into a cone. Just with a reduction, you're taking tissue off of that deep side, the bottom of the cone. So they're really, at the very essence, the same operation. You'll end up with that anchor-shaped scar around the nipple, down the front, and underneath. The breast will be perkier, and the areola will be smaller because you're taking some tissue off around it. The only difference is how much tissue you take off.